I need some time to rethink about your words, so please leave me alone for some time. This was the last reply I got from my wife after asking for a cup of coffee. Am I the bad guy for expecting a cup of coffee after my knee surgery? So I went in for a knee surgery on Monday this past week, leaving me rather hopeless for the next 4 weeks while I recover. And recovery has been frustrating as is I have just been lying down with my leg elevated almost 24/7. Mainly just moving to go to the bathroom. Luckily, my sister has been around to come help for the most part. However, there have been times where I have fend for myself and simple tasks become massive challenges. My wife studies in a different town to where we reside, so unfortunately she could not be here for my initial period of recovery. However, she came back Thursday afternoon as it was a long weekend. I was excited as now I could feel a bit more comfortable in my recovery. As much as I love my sister, and I still had to shower and change myself, which is also a very difficult task, and not to mention jumping around in the shower is rather dangerous, so at least with my wife it would make my life a little bit easier. Everything was fine until Friday morning when we both woke up and said morning, and about 5 minutes of both of us scrolling through our phones. I turned to my wife and asked, "Can we get some coffee?" Her response was, "You can make it yourself. I have seen the coffee beans everywhere." Now, I'm not pleased by this response at all. Regardless, I get up and start making coffee. Not only for me, but also for my wife. Now, remember, I'm on crutches. I can do whatever I need to, but with great difficulty, and help is much appreciated. After about 5 minutes, my wife comes into the kitchen and asks if she can help me, and refuse as I'm agitated and pissed off. I made the comment of, "You should have just stayed at your study house in other town." In hindsight, I wish I had never said such, because I mostly certainly didn't mean it, but at this point I was extremely upset, as all I asked for was a cup of coffee, which my wife could not get out of bed to do for me. This frustration more likely stems from the fact that I have been able to do nothing the whole week except just lay down and recover. Anyway, so my wife proceeds to pack a bag and go back to her study town with no regard to very well knowing that I need assistance. Her response is, "You said I must go back." Am I wrong in being upset and expecting my wife to stay? In my eyes, I should not have taken my own cup of coffee when I'm literally incapacitated. And assistance is much appreciated and honestly expected from my wife. I want to mention as well that my wife is studying her master's for psychology, and why I think this is relevant is because she is being taught the tools to empathize for others and help others self-reflect on decisions. Whether right or wrong, they try understand where their client's decisions stem from. Yet with me, it was a very quick decision for my wife to leave her incapacitated husband home alone instead of trying to understand why I would say such. I'm not justifying my reaction, it was wrong. I'm asking for my wife to not leave me unabled. Oh my god, OP, I think you have some other relationship issues. Simmering in the background, if this was the fallout from a seemingly simple request. You have had knee surgery, you are in pain and struggle to hold things while maneuvering on crutches. Of course, "Can we get your coffee?" implies the able-bodied person who has not had surgery should make it. If that's not obvious, then I'm not sure how she even got into university. Then she leaves, which even after an argument you would not necessarily do it meant leaving someone stranded. The argument was not over something so severe to warrant that. So why does she have a chip on her shoulder? What was transpired? This is not the behavior of your loving partner, but it is the behavior of someone who either resents the other person or is a selfish person. Everyone sucks here. She was obviously helping you prior to the coffee incident, right? Then when she doesn't drop everything to get you a coffee right away, you throw a fit and tell her to just leave. Then you are mad that she does. Certainly she could have helped you more, which could have been the kind thing to do, but I wonder how demanding you have been prior to this. She is your wife and not your servant. You are the bad guy. I have had 3 knee surgeries including a total knee replacement. Unless your doctor has given orders that you should remain completely immobilized, you should get up and move around. It helps to prevent blood clots, crutches or a pain and can make mobility a bit difficult. It does not entitle you to enslave anyone to do your bidding for everything. Assist with things most certainly, but making a stink about having to make your own coffee is a way out of the norm. For the next story, am I the bad girl for taking my dad's side and not my girlfriend's over a joke he made? My girlfriend Sarah, female 32, and I, male 35, have been dating for a few months. Sarah is Bulgarian but moved to Liverpool years ago to study. I invited her to spend Easter with my family because I knew she would not be able to visit hers. At first, she was hesitant but eventually agreed. We planned to spend the weekend at my father's house, where he lives with his third wife and Sarah's 2 kids from her previous relationships aged 12 and 10. However, they have a spare room, so we could stay there. On Sunday, my mother and her partner as well as my siblings would also come over to spend time with us. Although my family may be unusual, I love them. My dad's new wife is 34, which is similar age to Sarah and me, but she is nice and it's not a problem. We arrived on Thursday afternoon and my dad suggested we have few drinks to relax. I was up for it and we got quite tipsy. However, Sarah had been sipping her cider for 3 hours and was completely sober. My dad made a comment that he liked Sarah because she was not like the other immigrants from Eastern Europe who come to steal jobs. Sarah didn't take kindly to that and confronted him about what he meant. My father was drunk, so I interjected and told Sarah that she misunderstood and it was not offensive. But she told me she understood perfectly well what he said. I told her that she might think so, but since English is her third language, nuances can be lost. She called me an idiot and went to bed. The next day, my brothers visited and we played cards and had a few more drinks with my father. Sarah was sitting downstairs on the couch on her laptop working with headphones on, and my dad's wife was next to her watching TV. My dad was quite drunk and made a comment about Sarah's legs, which my brothers agreed with. Sarah took her headphones out and asked them to repeat what they said, and my father looked from Sarah to his wife and made a comment about how close in the age they are. He joked that if he were younger and Sarah was not my girlfriend, he had take the 2 of them to the bedroom and show her a good time. I laughed because it was clearly a compliment and a joke, but Sarah got all happy and told him it was inappropriate, and I told her to relax. And it's not like she is a prude and she has no ground to stand on. Since she told me she experimented with a threesome in her uni days, my brothers agreed, but she called my father a disgusting pervert and told me I was an idiot again. She went up to her room, packed her bags and told me she was going home. I called her this morning when I sobered up and told her she needs to apologize to my family because she was a way out of line. She argues that they owe her an apology. We didn't reach a conclusion and she is furious. I met with some of my mates this morning for breakfast and told them what happened, and they are split. Some think I should stink it up and apologize because that's how being with a woman is. But others think she is a way disrespectful and needs to be taught a lesson. I'm torn. Was I the bad guy or was she the bad girl? Why should she have to apologize when your dad made an appropriate and disgusting joke? It's freaking disgusting, and how you and your brother defend your creepy dad. I hope she breaks up with you because she deserves so much better than you. You were the idiot and telling someone your ethnicity stinks. But I like you because you were the exception is neither a joke or a compliment. Also, why are you letting your dad make inappropriate comments about your girlfriend and calling it compliments? Then why you also have the audacity to tell her to apologize because she didn't want to disrespect and demeaned? I hope she breaks up with you. Your father is way out of line. You were the idiot for dismissing his blatant bigotry and misogyny as jokes. I can't believe you would ask her to apologize. She has every right to be outraged. For the next story, am I the bad guy for feeling my girlfriend puts her friend's feelings above mine? A month ago, my girlfriend of 5 months told me she was going to meet up alone with an old friend that was in town. She told me they had a thing in the past. I felt a little uncomfortable with this and she offered to show me their text exchange. Her side was casual but his read as more than that, and I told her as much. She disregarded that, and when she left to hang out, I didn't hear from her for around 4 hours. Later I asked how it went. She told me good, and a few minutes later that he actually said he was in love with her. She backtracked this as a few days later, saying it was more of an apology for how things had gone between them in the past. Apparently, he was saying things like how his heart ached when he was hanging out with her because he was happiest when with her, and it was the biggest mistake he ever made. I asked if she was going to hang out with him again and said she could not because he is traveling back out of town. I asked it hypothetically he was staying, would she keep hanging out with him? And she said, yeah, probably. We got to a place where if when they hang out, she would have a third party there. Today, she told me that they have had plans for a few days to call alone and watch a movie on Discord together. And she forgot when making plans with me. This hurt because we agreed she would not hang out alone with him, and then she neglected to mention the plans. She defended it, saying that she didn't think of it as any different than a regular phone call, and asked if she should tell me every time they talk. I think there is a difference there, but she does not. She has another best friend that she told me has been in love with her for years, but she is unwilling to put any distance between them. They also had a thing in the past. When she starts dating someone new, his best friend goes on a drug binge and disappears for a few days. So I am very sure the feelings are still there. She is adamant that they both should not be punished for their feelings. And I can understand and agree with that on some level, but it feels like she is frequently putting their feelings towards her above mine. She also says that I just need to trust her, but I find that really hard when she doesn't seem to want to put up boundaries. The first guy confessed his love while knowing she was in a relationship. And if one of my friends did that to me, I would probably put distance between us out of respect for her and our relationship. I know I am very insecure, so I am just crazy on this. Is this a thing people are normally just fine with? I know the right answer is probably if it does not work for me, then it does not, but I want to know if it's normal to be bothered by these things. If it's insecurity, I'd like to work on that. I genuinely don't believe she is the type to cheat, but what feels like a lack of care for me is still very painful. You are not wrong, OP. The only reason she is keeping those people around is because she wants their attention. The problem is that you don't know how far she will go to get it. I would not be making long-term plans with this person. A quick update from OP is, I talked with her this afternoon and broke up with her. Thank you to all of you for your input and advice. We talked for a bit first and she was unwilling to go low or no contact with them. And I don't think that's something I can handle. After we broke up, she asked me a few times if she could fix it up by putting more distance between herself and the first guy, but never explained what that meant. I told her that at this point I don't think that's enough and offering any further. I worry she had feel coerced into cutting them off, so I don't think it's going to work. Unfortunately, my therapist is on a vacation starting today and I have not heard back from friends. I reached out to, so I'm kind of just alone with this, but I will get